So basically, yeah, just unicorn of the sea.
But I mean, why does it have to be a unicorn? Why can't a unicorn be the narwhal of the land?
Because people like unicorns better, so
I like narwhals better than unicorns.
Well, you're weird.
Because narwhals are real.
Well, what does that matter?
Because if you're gonna enjoy something, it's better to be able to see one, right?
I mean, I suppose, but I'm sure someone out there has found. I'm sure people have found a way to make unicorns.
That guy made unicorn goats. I can't remember what that guy's name was. He ended up grafting a horn on the center of a goat's head. You ever seen that? I'll show you. Unicorn goats. It's a thing.
Aren't we live already?
Yes, we are live with audio only right now.
We're gonna talk about this unicorn goat.
So I
this
guess
is important.
Is it though?
Be quiet. Let me show you what's up. All right, images. On the Googles, see? That is a living unicorn goat. These are real things.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can, I guess you can see a unicorn goat. Yeah.
Actually, I wonder if there's a water.
I don't know. Is there live video?
Live vlogging.
Vlogging? I can vlog. I can tell you my thoughts. Want to hear my thoughts on oatmeal raisin cookies?
Tell me all your thoughts on life.
Oatmeal raisin cookies are the best cookies. Fight me if you think that's wrong.
Oh my gosh, is meme runs? That's a thing?
Huh?
Meme runs is a thing?
We're nothing but a meme.
What is a meme run?
I don't know.
It's where people run and they reenact memes. You ever seen it?
No, I have.
Get out of the closet or underneath a rock, or both. Whatever you want to do.
Is that why I haven't found? Is that why I haven't gotten a special lady in my life? Because I need to come out of the closet and admit that I.
No, I retract my statement. I was just looking for some place that someone can hide, like under a rock. I mean, you can be whoever you are. Get off that right now.
What?
What are you doing? You can't be doing that right here. We're professionals. Stop looking at that.
Alright, wait. They can't see your mug. Ready? Now they can see your ugly mug.
Hi.
Well, greetings, all of our beloved Polaricans.
Or other people. There are other people watching this.
I mean,
I know for a fact there are other people watching this.
From other kingdoms?
Not even Amtgard.
Okay. Alright.
We're that big.
Fine. Hello to everyone who decides to watch this. So.
And before you feel too lost, yes, this is still Drunken Adventures. However, we are doing a guest stream. I guess I should have started with this to clear it up. So, welcome to our Mega Mondays has shifted a little bit. We will still be streaming that afterwards, after we get rid of these guys. In the meantime, I have partnered with our local Amtgard group, Mystic Dawn. And tonight we're going to show you guys how to make boffer swords. So if any of you guys are familiar with live action roleplay, this is not it. It's more if we get dressed up, beat each other with sticks, and kind of have some rules here and there.
It is a medieval/fantasy live action role-playing group with an emphasis on martial combat and arts and sciences.
I was told those are historical military martial arts with the wizards.
We dress up in medieval garb, beat each other with sticks, and then we go out and have food.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and obviously I'm missing everyone else, so I'm also running audio, video, so I'll be disappearing for the most part. But drinking, of course.
Is that what we're known for here?
If you're looking for any other details, we could probably, if anyone's interested, we can also post links to the Facebook group for the local Minnesota and Minnesota, USA, if anyone's around. If you're interested, we can post in comments or send me a DM and I can get you hooked up with either Amtgard site over in the US. There's also chapters in UK. I know some other parts of Europe have that. If you're interested in information, just let me know and I can post some more or direct you to these guys. So without further ado, I shall let them speak.
All right. So, I am Kendrick Arwete of Mystic Dawn in the Kingdom of Polaris. Do you want
We're using real names?
Do I ever go by my real name?
I don't know.
There's only like one person in the Twin Cities that calls me by my real name.
I call you by your real name. Because I didn't know what your fake name was for a long time. Or couldn't pronounce it.
Well, introduce yourself anyway.
Hi, I'm Andrew, also known as Bangarang in the Mystic Dawn's bits. I English good. I need a speech pathologist.
So, essentially, as was already introduced, what name do you go by when you're doing these things?
I'm Cards.
Good. Makes it easy. Mm-hmm. So, as Cards mentioned, we are going to be making a couple of swords, and primarily this was designed to be a bit of a teaching tool for a lot of our newer players, because we get a lot of people who come out, and though our park in particular has a couple of nice big bags of loner swords, the goal is to eventually start getting them into making their own gear. So since we haven't had a chance yet to have much for workshops, I thought this would be a nice little way of starting, some of these people started out a little bit on their own. So hopefully some of my beloved Misties have tuned in and you have went and acquired the goods you need. But to kind of go a little bit over the list, the first thing you need is you're going to need your sword core. Now, some of the good things that you can use are, for example, graphite golf clubs with the head cut off. Also, things like kite spar, bamboo.
Essentially not metal or wood.
Pretty much not metal or hardwood. Another thing is
or softwood. I mean, bamboo is a different thing.
Bamboo is it's more pliable wood.
It's a grass. But so we don't want. The idea is that you want something that's flexible and won't break and become a sharp object.
Pretty much. Also, you don't want it to be too hard because then you. I mean, a big thing about Amtgard versus a lot of other LARPs out there is Amtgard it's kind of middle of the road, because there are some LARPs that are very light touch. So if you even just that is considered too hard, and someone will complain and say you're being too aggressive. There are some that you could pretty much haul off and just and that's fine. Amtgard is more of kind of middle of the road. Basically, the big definition of what is a legal hit is usually if the weapon comes to a complete stop and makes an audible pop. So it's definitely not for it's not for the people that just don't want to get touched at all, but it's not for the people that really want to go in there and brawl. And so because of that, like I said, we don't really want we can't afford to use really like light, overly flexible materials like PVC. Because PVC will
break and become sharp.
They will do that. In some cases, it'll bend way too far back, things like that. And then we also don't want to use things that are too heavy, like again, metal or broom handles, things like that, because they have too much mass density, and you will potentially hurt someone. So both of us, surprise, surprise, ended up getting the same kind of core, so we're both using graphite golf clubs.
I got tailor-made.
Well, lucky you.
It's got a better swing.
It ain't got that thing if it ain't got that swing. Do up. No? Alright. So one, totally lost my train. Oh, yeah. So a good place to pick up golf clubs as your cores is go to places like Goodwill, Savers, a lot of the thrift stores, even some used sporting goods places. Because, for example, if you go to a Savers, they'll usually only over in the sporting goods sections have a whole stack of these for like $5 each, and these things last for a good long while. So even after at some point when your foam breaks down, you could essentially cut the tape holding the foam onto your sword, pull that off, put a new blade on, and your core is still going to be good for a while.
That's why mine has the stripes around it. I took the foam off of it. It's time to rebuild it. So.
Yep. So, That is always one of those things where sometimes it's good to put a little extra money into your core because again, foam will not last forever. It really won't. Foam will degrade as you keep boffing away. But if you get some decent cores, they're gonna last you a while.
Say, why do we use foam?
So that we don't cause permanent blunt force trauma.
Yes. So the idea behind these are that, yes, you can light touch with these and they probably won't kill you. We do wrap large bits of foam around it as a way to make it a little bit more safer.
Mm-hmm.
So just a little bit of clarification of why we have to have a core, because if anyone's ever fought with a pool noodle, they start getting wobbly.
Yeah. They basically have no mass, no density. They will not hold their shape at all. It just...
So you want something solid in the center that will hold the shape and allow you to use it the way you want, block and such. And then you want the foam on the outside.
So,
to get started? To get started?
Yeah, to get started. So one thing that's very kind of Amtgard specific is the type of weapon you are creating is based on the overall length of your weapon. So, for example, I'm planning on making a short sword. Now in Amtgard, a short sword has a max of 36 inches, yeah. And so basically...
And that's from top to bottom.
Yep. Including the stab tip that protrudes beyond the end and the pommel. So, I believe there's a camera up there. So, I'm going to kind of show you is... So as you kind of look at the measuring tape. Now basically, so I want to have about, I'd say, a half an inch of extra padding off the bottom for the pommel, and then I want about 1.5 inches off the top for the stab tip. So what that means is I need the overall length of my core to only be 34 inches.
What's the length of this one?
Length of that one is
34 inches.
34 inches. There we go. All right. So we got a magic marker at all?
Yes.
So basically what we're going to do is I'm going to see if my PVC pipe cutter will work on this graphite.
It's going to crack.
Yeah, probably.
Well, here, let me see. Let's score it first. If we score it first, we might be able to get it.
Yeah. Thank you. Alright, so 34 inches. Alright.
And roll score it.
So we're going to just go ahead and I'm working on it. I'm only doing this because I forgot to bring my hacksaw.
I forgot about it too.
I have one somewhere. I don't think I unpacked it yet.
Okay, while he's doing that, we'll this one's already prepared. After you get your length, there are a variety of things you can do. Or the next thing you have to do is make sure that this tip is stab proof. So we're gonna have foam on top of it, but the foam's not gonna be able to stop this from going through it after a while. Unless
you should do that away from the mic.
Oh, sorry. Remember, I'm always doing this with just like my laptop.
So you want to put something on the end of it to make more surface area, so you don't end up poking. Oh, you did get that. Nice and clean too. Look at that. It's not bad. So yes, we're on to the stab tip bit, and there's a variety of ways of doing this. One of the most common methods are adhering a penny or such coin to the end of it. There's a variety of ways of doing that. I'm going to use hot glue just to adhere it onto the top of it, since I've been told that's probably one of the better ways of doing it. So, I don't know if you can see that from there, but I'll be doing that over here. So a little bit of hot glue on top.
Why hot glue and not super glue?
Because it's a little more flexible, and I don't think that it would make such a great bond. And I have hot glue, and I've been infatuated with it recently.
You got just a little bit of leather?
There. A little more hot glue around the corner there. Boop.
Oh, and while
I
we
don't think I haven't unpacked yet. Have fun.
Thank you.
There's smaller scraps in there somewhere.
All right.
Of various thicknesses.
Be careful when you're doing this. Hot glue guns are hot.
You don't say.
Don't lick it. Don't touch it. But then once you get that on there, you see how it's...
I'm a little concerned that you had to remind them not to lick it.
I don't know who's watching.
I'm
So
more,
it's adhered on there.
I'm more thinking, are you speaking from experience?
I have not burned my hand with this before.
That's not what you lick with.
I don't judge you.
I'm certainly judging you if you're licking with stuff other than your tongue.
So back to what we're doing here. So once you get that adhered, other things you can think about when you're making it is there's going to be a little bit of balancing. Not everyone does this, but I've already got this chunk of metal in the back here to give it a better balance when you're holding it. As you can see, it's a little balanced, but it'll help counteract the foam there, so that it's a little more gentler to use or easier. What are you doing with that?
Well, you use a penny. I use I will use a little bit of leather.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I think I grabbed your really, really thick leather.
Mm-hmm.
So that's...
And you cut it huge.
Do you mind if I borrow some of your duct tape?
Yo.
So I really want to make sure that this does not come off there, because if that comes off, then this becomes a sharp, pointy bit, and we don't like sharp, pointy bits. I think that if you learn one thing.
Not that one. Not the big one. That's gonna be armor.
Ah, that's a good piece of it.
Yeah, there's smaller scraps in there somewhere.
So I'm making smaller strips, and then I'm gonna put that over the top there. Like so. Kind of form an X over the top of it. And then a little bit around it, underneath it, to hold that on there. I don't know if you can see that very well, but when you're done, it should look something like that.
Is that duct tape?
It's duct tape. And now this is not going to come off at all. Or shouldn't.
Shit.
That's the idea. So now you got a little bit more force there. So
Strapping tape. So
sorry, I'm from the country. We don't have none of that fancy strap. My grandpa once pulled a man out of the ditch with strapping tape. True story.
So on my compatriot uses hot glue, duct tape, and a penny. I have cut a small little bit of, just a small little square of some kind of medium to light thickness leather.
4 ounce leather? It's about 4 ounces.
Ask him. Do I look like I work with leather? Yeah, I'm the only. I am a scout who wears plate. All right. I know.
Come on, man.
The only thing I wear that's leather is the straps of my steel plate.
That's looks like 2-4 leather for anyone watching.
So basically, you can just simply
Want some hot glue just to hold it there?
no. So you essentially just kind of place it over, and then with the strapping tape, just bring that on down. Give it a bit of a torque.
Twerk it.
Yes.
No, torque,
Twerk.
not twerk.
Either way, you
Yeah,
should twerk it.
twerp.
Either way, it does look like it's working.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
So, and then basically, your when you pull your noodle down and then start putting your stab tip on, that'll help keep that in place. So the big reason that we're putting these little tips on the top is because one thing that you do not want to have happen is as you start kind of stabbing at people, you do not want your core to start stabbing through the bottom of your foam stab tip and eventually making its way all the way through into the people you're playing with, because then they're not going to want to play with you anymore. And, you know, there's other possible, you know, legal ramifications.
You might have just murdered a fella.
Yeah, no. Murder's highly unlikely.
Oh, man. Let's find out.
No, it's not murder. It's manslaughter.
It's manslaughter, okay. There's a difference.
Yes.
One's 25 to life, one's 10 to 15.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, so it's a 10-year difference if those at home doing the math.
And that's me spending way too much of my life watching Law and Order. For those of you who are also doing
Oh,
that.
because that's how that works. Okay, so you put tape and then leather, and that's a cat.
That is a cat. Yes.
What's the cat's name?
Thanks.
And where did you get the name from?
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
All right, so
Meow yourself, cat. Hi.
Yes, that is the channel mascot.
Come here, kitty. Okay. Cats don't like me.
He's a grouchy old man too.
I don't like you either.
Well,
You
good
better.
thing we're making swords here, because
Ah,
that is terrible. Sorry for you guys.
sorry.
At
So-
least our audience is used to getting our.
Is that
ears
2-inch
those-
wall or 1-inch wall?
That's tiny.
Yeah. Is that the right?
It works. So
What is the legal qualifications of a noodle?
So, basically, the legal qualifications of the foam padding for your weapons is you must have a 1-inch buffer between the edge of your foam and your core. So basically, you need to have at least a 1-inch thickness for your foam.
That's a good 3/4. Look at that. It's a little over half. So if you look
Yeah,
here,
but also remember, I've got craft foam in there too.
oh sure.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do layers of craft foam in there. So that is 1 whole inch of foam. Wait, there we go. 1 whole inch of foam. And also, this stuff comes with this nice splitty bit. So putting it on there is real easy.
So for those of us lazy people, where did you get the noodles?
So I got mine off of Amazon. The brand I went with was Oodles of Noodles.
Bangarang, where'd you get yours?
Bought it from some guy out of some guy's trunk of his car.
He also had free candy in there too.
I don't think he had candy, but
So I believe that looks like pipe insulation.
this is Frost King. It's one of the preferred, I've been told. I don't know. I bought a bunch of it back when I started, and
Yeah, that looks like what you can get at Home Depot, Menards for a couple bucks. Pipe insulation.
Home Depot doesn't have the right thickness.
Oh, they don't.
No, it's really thin. Like you're gonna have to do what he's doing here if you're gonna go with the stuff there. This is just one shot, throw it on there, and you're good to go.
All right, so what do we got Kendrick doing here?
So what I am doing is, I'm using craft foam, the adhesive-backed craft foam. It is usually, so it's that stuff.
Can I get a bit of that?
Sure. You can, the best place to get them is over at Joann's Fabric. Now a notebook-sized sheet of this stuff will run you about 99 cents. So it's a fairly cheap material. It really helps to add added foam protection, as well as a good filler. Because what I was going to kind of demonstrate is that, so with our foam, we've got a good sized gap in the middle there. So,
And it will rattle around in there.
yes, that's one thing that will drive people crazy, is if you essentially if you basically just stick your core up there, and then you basically get that, and it annoys everybody.
Oh wait, I've got tape here. There we go.
There we go. He's got tape. So, what the craft foam does is a craft foam acts as
sticky back?
Yeah, sticky back.
Huh. This should be enough.
Right?
I don't know. I'm eyeballing it. How much you grabbing there? Look at that. Perfect.
I think that's one of my template pieces.
Oh.
Now it's gonna get used, and we have to make new templates. Thanks a lot, you jerk face.
Well, you know what I do. You gave it to me. You said, here you go.
This is what I get for trying to be nice.
Nice guys finish last.
Eh.
Take what you want.
That's right, I do finish last.
First place, baby.
You're
First.
also not a nice guy either.
Alright.
Fine. I was a nice guy until I took an arrow to the knee.
What does that mean? Alright, so now I got this because mine tapers not as aggressively as his. So.
I was actually about to start singing the Dennis Leary song, I'm an Asshole.
I'll fight you for that title. So now we're going to make sure that fits nice. Oh, that's off. For all you guys at home, that's one more time. Oh, is this like ASMR? Just like, hi. Oh, wait. Here we go. Yeah, that's for you listening at home. Is this allowed on your channel? I don't know.
Oh yes. Anything that like a sharp sound, like whenever Kendrick puts something down on his cutting board, that's excruciatingly loud.
Okay, so start smacking the table then, huh?
That's why I have a mute button right.
Alright, so I'm going to adhere these sides together. There is, on here there's some glue between these two. And I figured, we'll get this in here first. Make sure it's the right length. I think it's the right length. Ooh, that's just miserable, isn't it?
So you only have to do the foam on the first half of the core, or you're not going to do the whole thing?
I don't need to do the whole thing because this is a fat core. So it doesn't wobble the whole way.
So you're referring to how it gets thicker down the core.
Yeah, I have a taper on this. It doesn't have that. His has a little more of a aggressive taper to it. I don't know what it was from. I don't golf very often.
I don't golf at all.
The only golf clubs I swing are turned into foam swords. So, as you can see there. Sorry, sound guy.
And
right.
As a bit of a kind of FYI, there have also been some people that have taken fiberglass tennis.
Fat Kid himself says, down with the suede.
Down with the suede.
Swede.
Down
Swede.
But yeah, so fiberglass tennis rackets are also another thing that I've seen used for swords. Because usually what they do is, so they'll basically cut off the oval part, and then they'll basically take something like kite spar and jam that down into the grip. And so then essentially you've got kind of the nice tennis racket grip. You've got a little bit of fiberglass coming up, and then again throwing some, throwing a little.
What now?
Throwing a little kite spar into the grip, and then throwing the foam on top, and there you go. Bob's your uncle.
What are you talking about?
Using fiberglass tennis rackets as a sword core.
So you get the weird curve on it?
Kinda.
That's cool. Alright. That's about right.
Yep. So I'm getting pretty near completion of this. Just got to.
We're that bad, huh?
Yup.
The sound guy's busting out the whiskey.
How else do you think I can do this?
So now I got this all adhered together, so it's now more or less one piece. It's also good to remember what side you have on when it comes to these, what size you have your crease, just so when you're swinging you aren't hitting on there. I like to mark my what's it called, my handle in a way, so that way I know that I want to hit on one of the sides more often, so when I'm holding it's more natural that way. So I tend to put like an oblong grip on there, or squared grip, but to each their own. How's that coming? Look at that.
nearly done.
Look at that, just perfect. Just perfect. Just perfect.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Scissors.
Sally sells cheese shells down by the seashore.
We're gonna start getting a lot of money coming in here soon, I think.
Do people pay for this stuff?
I wouldn't.
I don't blame them.
All right.
If you watch our stream, I wouldn't pay us.
All right, so basically now we've thrown some good amount of the craft foam on here. So this is going to act as a little bit more foam buffer, as well as a.
No, they're boffers.
Boffers. B-O-F-F-E-R.
I said foam buffer.
Yeah,
Yes,
they're
but this is a
boffers.
boffer.
Well, the whole thing's a buffer. This is a buffer between the gap in my noodle and the core.
I thought that's condom.
What are you talking about, sir? It's a filler.
I was gonna say, I don't have as much need of those anymore.
The buffer, or the filler?
The condom.
I shoot lightning bolts out of my fingers.
I think you need to go see a doctor. All right.
Only if it shoots more than 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I just 3.5. It's fine. It's a great time.
If it's going for more than 4 hours, just call more ladies.
Or men, if you're into that too.
Yeah,
that's
right.
fine.
Or both.
We don't judge here.
As far as I know, you're heterosexual, so I didn't want to go
Way to assume.
Well, when I tried to offer, you didn't take me up on it, so.
It's not my type, I guess.
All right. So the next thing is, so he already had his blade cut. I did not have mine. So I am cutting 24 inches of blade. Now the reason for 24 is because. So the big reason for 24 is because your 2/3 of your sword must be covered in strike legal surface. So in this case, I'm making a 36-inch weapon, so at least 24 inches of the weapon must be covered in strike legal. So with that, having a problem keeping my measure up.
It's a little long. I think that might be a little short. No, it's the same size.
So I'm going ahead and just with the magic marker, marking the spot for 24 inches. And then...
Now, why don't we make it all the way to the back and only have a single handhold?
Ready for the click? You mean like why don't you go all the way down there to the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
Technically you could.
I don't know why. I think there's something competitive about it. I'm not that... But I've been told that you want to have a long handle on them. More to do with getting in close, you got a shorter blade, and then out long, you got a longer blade. I don't know the exact, science behind it. But
Use a razor.
I'm getting it out.
he's getting it out, everyone.
Yeah, it'll be safe for me for the rest of the evening. There we go. For use another sword later. And now, who's ready for the squeaky? You got your mute button ready?
Scissors.
So see, no rattle.
We don't have stab tips yet.
So don't stab me. Alright, so now we got the blades on. So now the next thing is stab tips. So I need...
Is this the same consistency of that stuff?
There.
Oh, that's much nicer than this. Sorry for everyone I've stabbed with this.
As well you should be.
This is pretty aggressive. You want to feel that?
Yeah. What's the differences in foam? What are we using?
So I'm actually using two different versions of Camp Pad. So basically, you kind of always want to have a roll of this stuff around. This is exactly what it said. It is Camp Pad. So you essentially go over to the camping section of basically any sporting goods store, any store like a Walmart or a Target, and they will have these. And it is what it's supposed to be is it's basically supposed to be a bedroll that you roll out and you can put under your mattress or something for a little added comfort.
Sleeping bag.
I don't camp. I don't know what these things. I know these go under your body.
Do I look like a farmer?
Yes, actually.
You're right. That's a joke from the movie I saw.
Yeah, I'd go for that.
Churning lots of butter. Raise
Every
a
day.
on Wednesday. Soon you raise a nutter.
Oh yeah.
And Cards cringes.
We're the worst. We're sorry.
One of these days, he is just gonna stop returning my calls.
And actually answers your
it'll
calls?
probably be tomorrow.
I answer your calls.
Fine. Reply to my text messages.
All right. So what are we doing now? Second task.
So what we're gonna do
is cut on this nice table.
Nope. I'm gonna cut on this nice little cutting board I brought because I'm considerate of my host.
Not at the host's ears.
That's alright. They don't need it.
Is that in reference to me dropping tools or to my singing?
Yes.
All right. So one big thing is this is one of those things that I'm gonna actually see about trying to get another printing of, but this is every champion's best friend and a lot of Amtgarders' good tool to have around. That is essentially our what we just call a measuring template. So what this has is so the big ring that you saw, that is the required thickness for your blade itself. The smaller ring, that is for the pommel, which is at the bottom section of your sword. Then the two little inlet sections is again the smaller one is for your overall blade diameter, and then the larger one is actually for what we call heavy padding. Now, if you're
is that like?
No, I thought that was kind of light.
That was pretty
didn't have a lot of feel to it. Like, I don't think your emotions were in that. I think that was just it was almost patronizing.
I'm just going through the motions now.
Hence why it's not heavy padding. So in Amtgard, if your weapon is over 48 inches long and you are wielding it in a two-handed grip and you're using heavy padding, which is a 4-inch diameter, your weapon is considered to have crush breaking, which means you can essentially break armor and crush shields. That is very important to know if you ever decide to get into this, especially because people tend to put it on the end of pole arms. So if you see someone running up to you with a 7 to 9 foot pole and a giant mass at the end, your armor and your shield are not going to have a good day. However, since we are making short swords, we're not going to bother with the heavy padding. However, so he's basically laid out his camp pad and he's just kind of drawing out using that template a good stab tip. I'm gonna steal your template too.
See, I'm not gonna cut on this table.
The smell of magic marker.
Were you one of those kids that used to sniff those things?
No, I was the kid that ate Pepto-Bismol even when he wasn't sick.
What? That was an option?
I don't know. I had to come up with something weird, and I had a buddy who seriously did do that. Like, well, so it's because the stuff tasted like those like Smarties candies, you know, the like hearts that you give out at you know. If you
that's for heartburn stuff, right?
Yeah.
I know a guy that did that too.
No, Pepto-Bismol was for diarrhea.
What?
Yeah.
I've been taking the wrong things. That's one. And then we're gonna use a different thickness behind it.
Why two thicknesses?
Well, you need to have at least your inch thickness at all dimensions away from your core. And so the common way it works is what?
Gummy Kitty says Bangarang for Regent.
Vote me. Alright, so that is big, isn't that?
It's a little big.
It's a little big. All right, I'm gonna make that a little smaller. Otherwise, you get a weird tip at the end. It looks like a mushroom.
Yeah, we can. So, if you can see that, okay. So the big thing is when you look at how your stab tip works with the tester, essentially if a weapon easily slides through the tester, that is what will disqualify your weapon. Because essentially, that's basically how the safety rules work with this. Is if it can't slide over it, or if it takes great difficulty to get it over it, then your weapon will pass. But if it just slides right on through, then
terrible. I'm gonna have to do that again.
Then that is what will cause your weapon to fail.
That is absolutely. I did a bad job. Bad rank.
And yet you want him for Regent.
I'm a perfectionist,
Regent,
unlike some
not
people.
champion.
No, you want a perfectionist, don't you?
I want someone who does it right the first time.
Well, what are you gonna call, like, Bob Ross?
Ghostbusters?
I would totally call Bob Ross.
Me too. I mean, I take that back. Bob Ross? Yeah.
And we're just gonna go ahead and put a happy little tree right here, and
Or a
then
happy little stab tip.
we're gonna give that tree a little friend. Here's just a pleasant little bush right over here.
So you can beat the devil out of it.
And then this is where I'm gonna get a little.
No. There it is. 22-year-old.
I'm older than you.
Look at him brag. It's a weird flex.
I've got the whole salt and pepper thing going in my beard.
Yeah.
You're more salt than anything.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm like a fine red wine. I don't know what that means. Someone please explain this to me. Alright, so we're gonna make sure that.
I'm just thinking of our new audience, and I gotta keep it somewhat PG.
Oh.
Do we?
Yes.
That's your call. This is my channel, but I'll figure I'll be nice to you.
I'm gonna make sure that looks nice on there. That's nice. Hey, look, I got 2 pieces now. Actually, we use that purple stuff, or that green stuff, don't we?
Like I said, so I will actually use both.
Can I have some of that?
Sure.
Because mine is a little,
Cut your own, nerd.
This is great. Well, I mean, you want me to use this one? Alright.
Get it off my lap at least.
Well, come off. Saw it off, you hoser.
Oh, do you really want to start all that, eh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you betcha. Yeah. Yep, and he sighs. The heavy sign starts.
So hey everybody, welcome to the new channel. Hey, we're gonna call it the Great White North.
Oh yeah, you know. We're gonna talk about our favorite things like beer and beer.
Oh, and don't forget about the hockey.
Oh, and the hockey.
Yeah.
And the beer.
I think maybe I should put a little bit more craft foam on this thing here, because it's got a little bit too much slide on it.
Oh yeah.
You want just enough friction, so it's sometimes you.
Oh by golly.
Oh, except.
Oh, shut the fuck up! Go back to Fargo, you guys.
Oh, sod off, you hoser. Take off.
This is one I'm not allowed out in public.
They let you out in public?
Not after this, they won't.
Fair enough. So I'm just making sure that this is nice and perfect.
Let's see. So,
At the end of the day, you are making a foam weapon, but you don't want to hurt anyone.
yet.
Too badly.
Alright. So suppose you can see me over here. So what I'm going to do now, once I get this all nice and made here, is I'm going to take some packing tape.
Because I suppose that becomes another kind of interesting thing to mention. So when you come out to Amtgard, we're all pretty friendly people, and I said pretty friendly. All right, fine. He's friendly. But so one big thing to kind of keep in mind is that I mean, we are all friendly people, and whether they're willing to admit it or not. So basically, when you do come out, just be ready for that. Be ready for people who are going to be a little bit welcoming. They're gonna come and try and talk to you. So if you're one of those kind of super shy introverted people, just kind of be prepared for that, and let people know your boundaries. But also, it's
we'll push them.
I mean, probably will be a little
in the nicest way possible.
Yeah, in the best way. We're gonna make the best you.
Yeah. Because that is, to me, that's the biggest draw of this hobby is the community.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm putting a X over it.
Because X gonna give it to you.
Who are you?
You were on a good roll.
We were good. We were golden. Now, I don't know what we are. So yeah, you want to go over it.
Try and do that away from the microphone.
That way you get that on there nice and
deep.
I'm not quite finished, but this is what it's going to start looking like.
Just put in 2 pieces of tape, one on top of the other, and pull it down.
Yep. You calling ducks or something? I guess I can talk. I want to make sure this is on there real nice and good, because this is safety, and we don't mess with safety. And then also try keeping your edges, like the tape will create hard edges. Try getting it as smooth as possible, so you don't end up making a sharp point. It may not seem like much when you're doing it, but sharp point being smacked across someone's face on accident doesn't feel so great. So I like to take 6 pieces and go around it, so you kind of get a hexagon of grip. And then after that, after you get that on there, I take 1 piece and I go around it to hold that all together. Oh, shoot, I think I missed.
Having troubles there.
Tad bit.
Be smarter than the tape.
I messed that up, didn't I?
What'd you do?
Because we go all the way around it, right? We cover this the whole thing.
Next.
Yep.
Next. There's gonna be a little more tape on top.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. It's gonna be a little stiff at first, but it's gonna be a little stiff at first, but it'll wear in. You don't want it wearing in too much to the point where it's unsafe. But it's always good to check your foam, make sure it's nice and springy, because I can't say firmer on this guy.
I'm a firm believer in innuendo.
I hate you.
At this rate, it's going to be a firm innuendo.
Docking? Alright.
Gummy Kitty says, Bangarang always looking out for the safety of others.
Safety first. Safety first.
So, speaking of safety, why do you have 2 layers of foam on yours, and Kendrick, now you have your second layer of foam. Oh, never mind.
Because I'm safer than he is.
Okay, so why are you doing foam tape instead of just stacking it? Wouldn't that be harder?
So it ends up actually helping to keep it a little more firmly on. Because then basically, this basically means that then you have tape holding both of your bits of stab tip on, rather than just a little bit of slide between the 2 discs, essentially.
I got slide. Mine's nice and tight. It's probably not the most beautiful taping job, but... And you want to make sure that you can't, when you're testing these, and whenever you find one, you want to make sure you can't feel that stab tip through there, that penny or piece of leather.
So that is basically the first thing that the champion will do when they look at your new sword, is they will start pressing very hard on your stab tip, and if they can feel the core, they will fail your weapon.
All right, I'm gonna take this time right now to mark where my seam is.
So what does that mean, fail your weapon? Are you kicked out?
The only thing it means is that you cannot use that weapon. So again, most parks will have a collection of loaner gear that you can borrow from, or you can just ask people, hey, anybody got an extra short sword I can borrow? And people will actually in some cases people will literally throw them at you.
You can't throw these. They're not a throwing weapon.
In game.
In game.
In game you can't throw them. Out of game
You can do whatever you
Yeah,
want.
it
I
happens.
don't judge.
Alright, so now that we got our stab tip on there nice and plentifully.
That's nice right there.
So now, are we ready to tape our blades?
Yeah.
Alright, let's tape our blades. Do you have your shipping tape?
Mine comes on a nice thing here. Always buy Scotch brand. Do you go over it and tape it to your handle, or do you just tape the actual part on there?
So I start with the blade, and then down at the bottom we'll show you the torquing.
He torques it. I like to take a little bit and put it down on the bottom there, just to start it. Just that way it
Where?
holds. Like this, I start my tape down here, and then kind of move up and over. So then we're gonna take this, go all the way up, and all the way back down.
And now you're bringing the tape a couple inches onto the handle.
Yes.
Going past the foam.
Yep. That way I can tape that onto the, like right here. It looks ugly now, but it'll clean up in post. But that helps keep this blade firmly and secure on the, helps keep it on there. It's already a tight fit because I've got a good match between the core and the foam. And then you want to kind of smooth that out. Make sure it's nice. The reason we are doing this is, one, it helps prolong keep the foam together longer, keeps it stronger. Also, it waterproofs it. So some people like to play out in the rain, or it might get left out where it's wet. You don't get this thing full of water, and that doesn't help your foam at all. So again, I like to use six, make a hexagon thing again.
You essentially want to just make sure that every part of your sword is covered. One other thing that you also want to kind of be mindful of is, so you want to get a little overlap in your tape on this, because you essentially don't want there to be kind of a seam that, again, water can get into, but also you don't want that seam that'll kind of lessen your protection. So essentially a soft spot in your blade is what you don't want. So that's why little overlapping of your tape is definitely a good idea.
There we go. That is just the best sound ever, huh?
How we doing, sound guy? Still with us?
That is beautiful right there. That is the worst tape job I think I've ever done.
Also, why my hand is right on the game. I'm just sitting here flipping back and forth.
Alright, here we go again. Ooh.
So aside from his super fan, anyone else have any questions so far?
Because we are reading the comments, so if you have anything else, chime in.
How many people are watching?
We've been up and down. Right now we're at 3.
Sweet.
So I know we addressed this at the beginning of the stream, but what separates Amtgard from any other LARP or live action roleplay? From anything else? Like there's Alliance out there, there's some other big LARPs around here.
I was named Amtgard.
What was that?
Ours is named Amtgard. That separates us a little bit.
So one of the big things are essentially the class rules, the weapon construction, the level of aggression, and I suppose I haven't gotten to know much about the communities of the other LARP systems, so I can't really speak much to that. I can only speak to the pretty positive experiences I've had in Amtgard.
So, I guess, so we covered the aggression and the fighting style, but what about what makes it a live-action role? Isn't it mostly, with the LARP, you see the real nerdy, like the YouTube video, fire, lightning bolt.
Hey, don't make fun of me.
Super nerdy, in-depth in character, having a backstory, basically it's a live-action Dungeons & Dragons. Is that what Amtgard's about, or...?
It's more focused on the combat rather than the role-playing bit. Mm-hmm. It's, I mean, there is role-playing, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of role-playing, but it's mostly based on the combat with either your sticks, or there are sorcery spellcasters, so wizards, druids, there's healers and stuff like that.
Essentially what a lot of it boils down to is there's not a lot of aspects of Amtgard that are focused on the roleplay side of it. It is more of the focus is on the martial combat, and then the class battle system kind of accentuates that. So as he was kind of going on some of the different classes, we tend to generalize the classes into either melee classes or caster classes. And so, for example, Barbarian. Barbarian is a melee class. So it's essentially how good are you at your sticks, and then how good are you at using your class abilities to augment your ability with your sticks. So, excuse me. So basically, as far as the roleplay aspect, then again, on the battlefield, you can express who you are via your mannerisms and your dialogue, of course, your choice in garb. One rather specific person takes her garb heavily influenced from characters from Legend of the Seeker. And so she has basically a kind of a full getup of red armor.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And so it's, you can basically pull your inspiration from existing fiction. You can go full historic with it, or you can just get silly. But it's basically that's how to me that's the role play side of it is, how do you carry yourself when you come? How do you customize your clothing, your equipment and whatnot to kind of fit who you are. Even for example, even though I play Scout, I kind of play it like a Paladin. And so because of that, I never use my ability Shadow Step. Because a Paladin will never step into the shadows. He's a beacon of the light.
This is called flirting.
So, if I want to show up, or if I want to check out Amtgard for a day, do I have to show up like in full Renaissance garb?
No.
Do I have to have all this ready?
Show up as you are, like... preferably comfortable shoes, athletic shoes.
Definitely.
Like shorts, athletic shorts are fine. Something that's breathable, movable, because you're gonna be running around a little bit.
Yeah.
Something that you don't feel mind getting all sweaty.
I've actually suggested to some people for their very first time out, feel free to dress like you're going to play basketball. So again, like Bangarang was saying, wear like some tennis shoes or some running shoes. Go ahead and wear shorts. Throw on a t-shirt, because the big thing is that this is a game that, as I always tell people, you can get as much into it as you want or as little into it as you want. So if you just want to show up once a month, come on out, swing some stick, hey, that's cool. We're happy to have you. If you want to start getting full medieval garb, and you want to make yourself a whole arsenal of weapons, and you want to start speaking like it's a Shakespearean play, by all means,
you're allowed.
Again, feel free, please do, as long as you're having fun with it. So and even again, like I said, most parks, we do have loaner equipment. So if, you know, I hate to say it, but even if you never do decide to make your own weapons, there's a, you know, it's highly likely that people are going to be more than happy to loan you stuff, or that there's going to be loaner gear. So, and even again, if you're not the most craftiest, there's another huge aspect is that there are a lot of crafters in the game that are happy to do commissions. So essentially, like for example, let's say that you never, you know, this doesn't look fun to you, you don't really want to build your own sticks, but you do want some sticks of your own. Just ask somebody, hey, is anybody willing to make me some sticks? You might get lucky and someone, you know, they're like, oh, they're new, sure, I'll throw them a bone, and they'll either just throw you one of their old sticks. Actually, I did that for a new player a few months ago. Or they'll just be like, well, here, I'll just quick make you one, and either they'll just say, I'll just make you one, or they might say, give me $20 and I'll make you a sword. So, and the same goes for clothing. So I know, again, a good friend of mine, Mittens from Green Harbor. She's made plenty of garb for not only myself but people all the way up to our current king. So she's a very accomplished garber and is willing to take commissions. Then you get a lot of other people who are willing to take commissions on clothing, but there's also some people that are willing to make you armor. So if you feel like coming out in steel or leather or you know, or the quilted cloth, there are people that are willing to make that stuff for you, for whatever kind of price you guys negotiate. So yeah, it's basically and I suddenly realize I've made this a very long rant, so I'm gonna wrap it up and say that yes, basically just come on out and go from there, but dress for physical activity. There we go.
That's good. What do you got going on? What's with the rope?
I'm trying to make a little more comfortable grip. I got big sweet hands that need to grab onto something. And so I might just wrap some paracord on there. I might braid some paracord on there. Or, you know what, this one, maybe I won't even do anything to it. Maybe I'll just wrap some hockey tape on it, because that's not that bad. Next step.
So it looks like Kendrick is putting extra tape on his blade.
So what I'm doing is
torquing it.
I'm going to do the torquing. And so what this is basically, so you're going to want to kind of do a bit of a loop pattern there. And then you literally just kind of grab here and start twisting. And you probably want to get a lot more of a loop. I done screwed up.
What do you use for a pommel? Or how do you do your pommels?
Craft one. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Looks like we're running behind on comments. Gummy wants to know, what are your favorite superheroes and why?
Captain America, for obvious reasons.
Nothing's self-evident. Why?
Yeah, there's some reasoning to that.
Yeah, you gotta be some reasoning.
You can't just say because he's cool.
I mean, you can say that, because...
No, I'm not gonna allow that.
So I, too, was that kind of weak little kid that got beat up a lot. And so to basically see a guy who just kept getting up and kept standing up to bullies, it's basically what I wish I'd done when I was younger. And so now I try to not take shit from bullies, and granted it's got me quite an asshole label, but fuck them. So basically if I'm giving you a lot of shit, it's because you probably need to analyze what you're doing with your life.
Superheroes, huh?
Alright. Yeah, just superhero.
Shoot. I don't really have one off the top of my head. I guess I'm not much of a superhero guy.
What about anime?
Anime? Kind of a closet nerd. I don't know. Let me think about this. Favorite superhero?
Alright, we'll come back to you then. Another question is briefly about classes and sash colors.
Oh, yes. So, when you're out in the field...
Great question.
I guess let's, so there's two types of classes, right?
Ooh, actually, can I break for a second to show the twerking? So,
Twerk it.
Damn it! Now you got me saying twerking.
Twerk it.
So as you guys can see, basically, so as I said, you kind of do the tape in a bit of a loop like that, and then you just give it a good twist. And
twerk.
Yep, give it a nice good torque, torque.
Twist.
And now what that does is it basically really keeps that blade firmly attached to your core. And then you'll do kind of one more quick little thing of tape right there, and then this blade will be just very firmly on there.
Quality twerking.
Quality twerking to get yourself a good firm blade.
What's a good like clever or like what's Doctor Strange is cool. I like people that their like superpower is just like their ability to problem solve or come up with unique solutions to challenges that they face. I don't know.
So Deadpool.
Deadpool? I guess yeah.
Merc with a mouth. I can't.
And he's kind of funny,
grave,
yeah.
but I'm still alive.
So okay, so we had a question about classes with the sci-fi elements.
Ooh,
how
right.
we do that. So what I understand is there are two types of classes. There are your martial, more fighting-based classes. So like barbarian, warrior, and then there is a spellcasting class. So your bards, your wizards, stuff like that, right?
Bard, wizard, druid, healer. That's it.
So you say so if I take a spellcasting class, can I not fight? What does that mean?
Well, I take a spellcasting class because I can't fight. And I admit it. I'm really not that great. So it's all about preference. Each class has it's like self-expression. Like he plays the paladin or the scout.
The scout,
because that's how he pictures that's how he likes to play. That's who he is. That's how he likes to portray himself.
I'm lawful stupid.
And I take the wizard because I get to shoot lightning. Well, you get to throw lightning balls at each other. Like the super nerd lightning ball.
Yeah, so do you just say lightning ball? Do you say abracadabra? How do you cast a spell then?
Ooh. So, and damn it, I wish I had one right now. But, so, basically, for example, ice ball. With casting classes, so for melee classes, at, this level and this level and this level, you get this, this, and this.
Well, we can be a nerd. This is a D&D stream. Or, this is a Pathfinder stream. We are definitely familiar with levels and spell slots.
Gotcha. Alright. So then yes, the caster classes work very much like magic classes in Pathfinder D&D, where at this level you get 5 points to spend from this spell list. At second level you get 5 more points to spend with this list. However, you can, for example, spend a level 2 point to buy more level 1 stuff. So you can use your points to buy from previous levels. So I guess if you really wanted, you could just have like 30 level 1 spells.
So, so do I have a character sheet, or how do I do this?
Yeah, you'll make a spell list. If you're gonna play there's an app for that.
I was about to show the app.
That's right.
There's an app for everything, ladies and gentlemen.
So how does this work then? So if I'm a new player, I show up, I want to be a wizard.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have anything, so you're saying I can have Lona gear.
Mm-hmm.
So I can show up, someone will have a Lona gear for me. With spells, it's like we throw like the spell balls, these spell packets. People might have that for us.
Mm-hmm.
I can just show up, okay, I got a Lona weapon, Lona spells, now what?
Well, when it comes to the spellcasters, is you gotta know what each spell does. So there's a little bit of knowledge that has to go in with that. You have to know there's things you have to say in order before you can't just say lightning bolt and just throw a lightning bolt at someone. You have to say a incantation. You look really amazing and very attractive when you do it. I'm gonna just say that out loud. Definitely not as nerdy as it sounds. But if you wanted to cast like
I command thee stop, I command thee stop, I command thee stop.
Yes.
So right there, for example, So you have a certain incantation, like I command you to stop. So that I believe that is a warrior ability. Or
It's a spell called Hold Person.
Whole person. I get it as a scout. Believe pretty much wizards, druids, healers can get it.
So what you did is you have to point at someone.
Ooh,
Oh yeah, you gotta say so.
Well, so officially what you have to do is you have to call out 2 identifiers to designate the person if you do not know their name. So for example, I can go, cards, command thee stop, I command thee stop, I command thee stop. He is now stopped. Let's say I have no idea who this person is. So,
Does anyone really?
So, red bearded guy in black hat. I command thee stop, I command thee stop, I command thee stop. Because again, you had to call out 2 things so that there's no confusion as to who you're talking about.
Joke's on you, it's a blue hat.
And that's where you get into sportsmanship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's all about honesty.
Alright, so meantime, what do we got over here?
Oh, the first, so, the, right there, that second one from the top.
We can't see it with the glare.
Oh, all right.
I will put a descriptor in the bottom, or again, if you're interested, DM me. But there is a app that lets you organize your spell list. If you really want to get into this, or you want to just take a look, there is a free rulebook. Go online, Amtgard rulebook. Take a peek at that. If you want to build something, there are apps for that. Or send me a message and we can get more information. Meanwhile, what do we got over here, Bang Rang?
I'm putting the pommel or the bottom protection on there. I like to use a piece of foam because it's just easier.
So,
Because you have to.
Well, I mean, you have to have one on there. There are going to be multiple ways of doing it.
why do I need that if I'm going to strike the sword end of it?
Because you might accidentally, when you're in combat and everything's getting crazy, might end up bonking someone with this. And that hurts. So you want at least something on there that will protect the sharp, or like the pointy bits and all the hard bits. You will sometimes get hit on the fingers with just the handle. That hurts a lot. A lot of people wear gloves, but that's sort of expected. Whereas this, you could get up close and accidentally hit someone in the eye. You don't want to knock out an eye. You don't want to, something like that. When you're in close combat, things get a little hairy. So, safety first. We put foam on the bottom. Put foam everywhere you can.
You'll shoot your eye out. You'll shoot your eye
So
out.
he's doing that. I like to take, when I build them, I like to take a piece of the extra foam and just slit it down the middle, throw it over there. So that way you have your inch.
So it's just a piece of the foam he's already used. Cut off a piece of that and throw it on.
And then I just tape it up and then shape it with compressing tape and stuff like that. But then it also gives that, I kind of like cool looking weapons, so it kind of gives that big, pommel look to it. So
Again, it goes back to how you want to portray your
how to
class
portray
or
it, or
portray yourself. So there's a lot of room for individual.
yes,
the art
individual
to it.
taste.
Next question we got is how do levels gain XP and level up?
Well,
Show up.
you show up, you just have to show up.
And that's it?
So
Pretty much.
essentially, so when you come to an Amtgard event, there will be someone basically taking attendance, and the 2 things they'll ask you is, first off, who are you, and then what do you want your point in, and essentially that is how you acquire your experience points to go up levels. Is you show up, you designate which class you want your point in that day, and go from there.
So I don't have to be like super good at fighting, or I don't have to be really like do a quest line.
You just
or-
keep on working on it, you'll level up.
I just show up.
Just show up.
Don't
Just
do
show
anything
up.
special. Don't be.
You're gonna. Each park has its own rules. Like I think the legal thing, according to the rules, is you have to play the first battle game, where you play as a class. In the class, you want your credit in. Oops, that's
Okay,
way
so
too
if I
much.
show up, I say, I want to be a bard today, and I want credit as a bard. So I have to play one game as a bard, at least try,
Yep.
and then I get credit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Doesn't matter how poorly I do or how well I do.
Oh, you're gonna be terrible for a while.
man.
I'm still terrible on. I've been on this over 2 years.
No one really judges it. Everyone will push you to do better, but no one's gonna judge you on your skills. Like there's no, hey, look at that guy. He doesn't know how to fight. It's hey, want some? They'll give you pointers, or if you have questions, people are very happy to help you.
Yeah, because that's another huge thing about the community is take your time to find what you are enjoying, and then there are so many people that are just chomping at the bit to mentor. And so you will be able to find people, like if you really want to be a wizard, there are people who are level 6 wizards
I just made level 6. I think.
So how do you know that you're level 6? Like, do you have a character sheet you have to take home every day?
There's a website that doesn't work very well.
It works just fine. So on Amtgard.com, when you go to the more section in the main menu, you bring it down and there's a little listing called Orc.
ORC?
ORK. And it's actually an acronym for Online Record Keeping. And essentially what that has is it basically has a bio. It has a bio of you that whatever park you go to, they'll probably just have that be your home park, as it's called. And the prime minister of the park will basically create your profile in the orc. And usually they'll just start with your just kind of your name and what you took your point in that first day. And then every time you show up, the prime minister will come up, and again they'll get your name, which you want your point in, and they will enter when they enter attendance, as it's called, which will basically it's just a listing of who was there and what they took their point in. It will basically link to your profile and just keep tallying up your points based on that.
There are elected officials. That's what a prime minister is.
We'll get to that. Yeah, so essentially that is how all that works. It is maintained by the park officers online, so you can view your orc anytime you want, and keep track of your points, keep track of your progress, and then as he was kind of starting to talk about it, there are also other things that you can acquire over your Amtgard career, which are things such as awards. Now, awards it's not a short topic, so I'm going to give you the Cliff's Notes version. Essentially, everything you do at Amtgard that's a positive thing could garner you some recognition. And it's everything from, so example, making your first Amtgard legal sword could get you an Order of the Owl. Helping out picking up trash, or helping the champion carry all of his stuff out to his car, could get you an Order of the Rose, which is an emphasis on service. Owls are on crafting and creating. If you are a really good fighter, you could gain Orders of the Warrior, which is just purely there for recognition of good martial combat skills. So it's definitely something that, like I said, as you continue on your Amtgard career, build up your profile, that's one of those things you can keep track of in the orc. And should I go all the way to talking about knighthood?
Yeah, you can become a knight.
So as you do continue on being a part of certain aspects of the Amtgard community, you can start earning further recognition in the form of, for example, titles of nobility. You can become a lord, a baron, a count. You can also then progress even further down one of the three paths, which is flame, which be acts of service, serpent, which is acts of crafting and creating, and then sword, which is just pure martial skill. And if you progress far enough, i.e. get enough awards in that category, you could attain a knighthood. And then you would be Sir, insert your name here. I gotta build my pommel. You start talking. Actually, I'm gonna quick talk about my pommel. So
why are you so Bang Rang did a very quick, just taped on. basically cut off a section of that. What are you wrapping around there?
So I basically cut about 13-inch triangular bit of foam, and then using a little tape off the end here, started wrapping it around the bottom of the core, and I'm basically just, again, wrapping it on around.
He likes twisting.
He likes twerking.
And then basically, this whole thing will kind of fold on in and form your enclosed pommel.
Again, there's no like
one way of doing it.
One way of doing it. It's as long as it's safe. There's a rule list of what it's supposed to, like the minimum minimum
safety
requirements it has to make.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you get to work within that.
And that's the rulebooks that are in the Amtgard rulebook,
yes.
right? It's all like listed. There's
listed
pictures.
Out.
There's diagrams, detailed explanations.
Join a Facebook group, and there's Facebook groups that you for each park. People will be very happy to help you there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed there's a lot of Facebook. Everything's on Facebook besides the pork and kind of general information. Like if you're in whatever state you are in the U.S. or in the U.K., I noticed every region has an individual Facebook page. So why is there a major Amtgard and why are there individual?
So essentially, it's it's a matter of Amtgard is broken down by geographical location. So there's Amtgard as a whole, which spans everywhere on the planet where there's an Amtgard park. Then you have what you could almost consider the regional divisions. So, for example, Kingdom of Polaris is Wisconsin, Minnesota, northern Iowa, and northern Illinois. Basically, and even though Polaris continues to grow, it's one of those things of you do. For any organization to be efficient, you do need to have a little bit of breakdown in command, and that's kind of where the kingdoms come into play. Is instead of just having Amtgard as a whole, now you have Amtgard. The Amtgard board of directors can communicate and coordinate with the kingdom officers. Then within the kingdom, you have the individual parks, which would be, like for example, we have in Rochester we have Ethereal Tides. In Mankato we have Raven's Nest. The Twin Cities, because we're kind of such a large, populace, we actually now have 3 parks. So there is Green Harbor in the south, Stoneborn Keep is recently formed in the East Metro area, and then in the North and West Metro area you have our home park, Mystic Dawn.
So, with all these different parks and organizations, if I stick to one place, what happens if can I go anywhere else?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You can transfer. From my understanding,
it's not even as big as that. You are welcome to visit any Amtgard park, no matter where your home is. You will still receive your class credits. You will still receive the same recognition should you have any sort of titles or any knighthoods, and that is not just restricted to a kingdom. If I went down to Florida to visit my mother and decided to bring my sticks along and wanted to find the closest park, I would show up, be welcomed with open arms, be able to get class credits, whatnot, even travel credits, and basically you're just able to kind of travel as you like.
Because they're using that website you're talking about earlier, the ORC.
The ORC, yes.
So that everything that you do is recorded on that site.
Yep.
And then any other site you go to can just pull you up and say, oh yeah, you're level this, whatever.
Exactly.
So what if for one of those we don't want Facebook, we're not plugged into that kind of social media, how can I find a park?
So if you go on amtgard.com, again, don't exactly remember where exactly the link is, but there is a link on there that's just called Find My Park, and from there what you can do is it's using like a Google Maps search, but it has the locations of all of the parks that are registered with Amtgard, and you can basically type in the address you're looking for, and go from there.
Address like where you live. idea?
where you're going to be.
Or where you want to go.
Yeah.
What city? Okay.
And it'll basically tell you where the closest park to that location is.
Back to what we're doing here. You may have noticed I slipped this on top of it, on the sword. So after you get done with your sword, you'll have, it looks something like this. You'll have safety padding on this side, foam all the way up and down. It's pretty much almost ready to go. There is a requirement that you can't just have tape, because repeated tape doesn't feel so great. So you have to protect this and the people you're hitting with a cloth sock. Essentially, it's a cover. I don't think we have time to go into how to make one. I'll probably make a video on how to make one of those in the next couple weeks that we'll post on someplace, I don't know where.
The sewing machines are really loud.
Yeah, sewing machines are loud. Essentially, it's you sew up a tube, and then you close off one end, and then you stick that right on there, and then you can tape it on there. This one's pretty bad, so I'll be making a new one. But that way it gives you something nice and smooth. Doesn't bind, it's softer when you hit someone with it, and it rubs easier, less friction. All around, it's safer. And people go all crazy. They make all sorts of funny looking ones, flames, swords, cartoon characters, you name it.
There are literally people who have My Little Pony prints all over their swords.
Oh, I think the coolest one I saw was it's all furry, like fuzzy. It's my favorite. If you're watching, it's my favorite. You know who you are.
It looks like all you have is just, you stitch together a sock, slip it on. There's not real heavy requirements.
No, not really heavy requirements. All it has to do is be cloth. Then you're also going to want to cover this as well with cloth.
Though again,
we don't have time for that, and I don't have one for it.
I totally have a very easy solution.
We'll show off. But yeah, I use nylon ripstop just because I want it to last long. And it's a nice, durable material.
So I suppose I'm going to show you a good kind of beginner way of doing it. So this is hockey stick tape.
Hockey stick tape the pommel?
You could totally hockey stick tape the pommels.
Well, I'm going to hockey stick tape.
Well, hockey stick tape your pommel.
Okay.
Well, pitter patter.
That's what I appreciate about you.
It's all you appreciate about me.
So basically, yes, hockey stick tape, cloth athletic tape also is an allowable option, and the big reason that this is allowed for your pommel is because, again, the pommel is not there to act as a striking surface. The pommel is there to act as basically a safety guard. So that is why you do not have to have the same kind of cloth covering as you would a blade. However, do bear in mind that these do still need to be well padded and completely covered to still act as just, again, a bit of a buffer from, your tape and whatnot.
So I have to have a cloth of some sort on the blade.
Yes.
But I could use hockey tape on the pommel.
Correct.
Okay. Now I noticed Bangarang has a very two-dimensional pommel versus yours is almost like a sphere.
Mm-hmm.
Is there certain requirements to that, or how can you get away with that? Because won't that expose the core?
I made it big enough so that way I got the it's a 1/2 inch, right, on the pommels, if I remember right.
As long as it does. So remember. So back to the tester. So that smaller circle is the diameter that is used to safely test your pommel. So essentially, here, give me your stick. So basically, as you notice, this is barely going through that at all. Essentially, if this goes more than a 1/2 inch through the tester, this will fail as a safety hazard.
And it's far enough away from the.
And again, kind of look at mine, and I think not going through at all.
It's also lined up with my seam, so that way, if you're gonna get hit with it, it's probably gonna be from the thick foam side, because I'll be swinging like this.
Now, speaking on the thick foam side, I've seen blades that are not spherical. They have like
Flat
a flat
blades?
edge. Yeah. So how does do all Amtgard blades have to be round like that?
No, this
No.
is the easiest. With people make flat blades which are more sword looking. However, the only strike legal bits are more like real swords. The top and the bottom are where the strike faces are. With this, anywhere you touch with it, any direction is strike legal. So if I hit them like this or like this or like this, I don't know if you can. I'm trying to accentuate.
Basically, Omniblade.
On the
is
blade.
Kinda,
So this whole thing's like a
Omniblade.
It's like a lightsaber.
Pretty much.
But then you're saying if you could feel the core, you feel the blade. But in a flat blade, you could feel the core on the
True.
flat side.
And the reason for that is because, so, kind of thinking of this is a good example. So with kind of a round Omniblade, as we mentioned, you can strike with any angle of the blade. However, if we're talking about something more just flat edge, only that flattened edge is what can be used to strike. So if you get hit with the sides, that does not count as a legal hit. Only the thick padded edge.
I got a flat blade, actually.
He's got a flat blade.
Yes, I do.
Which I was gonna say. So
That's actually this is a complete. I got this taped on there. This is taped. It's a fully fledged blade.
So what he's got on there is he's got an actual like sewn cover. However, for some of you like me that can't really sew at all, or you're just looking for a quick and easy way of doing it, what I have here is a knee-length women's soccer sock. So what you can do is, because it is a cloth cover and it's opaque, because that's the other big thing is you want to make sure that that basically your cover is not see-through. But so since it is an opaque cloth cover, you can simply pull the sock on over, tape it down here, and this is now a legal sword.
Have at you.
I gotta tape it down first.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So what I picked up here, yes, this is a little embarrassing, and actually my second try. So back in like a decade ago, I ran a LARP, and we did bare bones. We didn't know about Amtgard, so this is my poor excuse of a flat blade. So aside from the duct tape, this is what you're talking about, correct?
Yeah, more or less.
So the edges are going to be your strike legal surface. So if I hit you with the flat of the blade, it's not going to count.
Yeah, flats do not count. You'll typically feel a flat, like you'll know when you get it flatted.
So in a way, I'm at a disadvantage by using a flat blade.
You'll fight like you have a regular sword. Do not think that this is equal to actual sword fighting, because you'll make moves and strikes with this that you cannot or will never do with a real sword. Like people do like weird rounds and stuff like that, because think of it as a lightsaber. All edges of it damage. With a flat blade like that, you have to hit them on the actual bladed end. You'll fight more like a real sword that way, I'd imagine. So.
Alright, so it looks like we have our covers on. We have our pommels. What are you doing over there, Kendrick?
I am throwing a little of the hockey stick tape down the grip, partially because I use the tape to basically hold the cover down, and then I just kept going down the grip. Now, for certain cores, this is pretty necessary. So, for example, if you are using just flat-out kite spar, you need a little something to give you a bit of a grip. Now, even though this is a golf club, so it already has that rubberized grip, still did the blue tape just because I'm a nerd like that, and it's kind of my color. But
Hockey tape is the best.
I love hockey tape. So this is now a finished sword.
So we're good to go. From here, you can go on the field. That's perfectly legal. Oh, and we're doing that.
Your bloody arm's gone.
Yes, my arm is gone.
Yeah.
Not in the house. Come on. Oh, and I'm dead.
This new blade has now tasted blood, and it wants more.
I told you I'm not very good at this.
The making or the fighting?
I can make them, but I can't fight for much.
Yeah, so for example,
It's still fun.
can you feel core through that stab tip?
I do not feel a core through the stab tip or anywhere else. Yeah, so this is pretty much ready to go then. You can take this on the field.
Pretty much. It's ready to go.
And then I'm noticing, I noticed some craftsmanship here. Little blemishes. You missed a few pieces on the pommel.
Alright, fine. I got
Would you get failed for that?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
It doesn't have to look good. It just has to be.
So basically, so all of this is covered with the cloth tape down here.
So it's still up to their discretion, but sometimes you...
Nope, I'm actually going to retract that. I'm going to fix that right meow.
There we go.
Right meow.
Alright. So those are good to go.
And about 2 shakes of lamb's tail mine will be.
Next question is about your fighting, how poorly it was. But how do you know when you're dead? Like, do you have like a health points or hit points?
So you have 2 arms, 2 legs, and 1 chest. It plays on you can lose an arm and still like a limb. If you lose, think of like a bikini or a one-piece bathing suit.
That is disturbing, but go on.
Think of me in one of those right now. It's
That is
bright
very
pink with polka
disturbing.
dots.
He will run itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini.
Okay, and that's all.
One piece. All right. So think of essentially like the big chunk of your core here. That is an instant kill. You get hit there, anywhere on there, back, front, sides, it kills you. If you get struck on the arm, arms, hands, legs, feet, anywhere else, you take a wound. We'll get there. Well, you take a wound on that arm. So you nick this finger right here. This arm's dead.
You hit your beard. That's alcohol abuse.
It's not. It's empty. You think I'd leave an empty or full one on the table? What are you talking about? So if you hit, you get hit on your arm. This arm is now dead. If you get hit anywhere else on a limb, leg, other arm, if you don't move this arm out of the way fast enough, that considers 2 strikes. You can only lose 1 limb, so you get 2 hits on a limb.
What about hands?
Hands that are not holding a weapon, if you get struck on here, kind of wrist on up, that counts as part of the weapon and does not count as a kill or a wound on that hand. But if you go past that, right?
Yeah.
So always keep 2 hands on the weapon, and you can use both your hands.
No, that doesn't count.
That's all
Yes,
also
it
broken
does.
down in the rule book
You can't.
too.
Yes, I looked it up. That's why I got that big one with the big handle on it. I do it all the time. It works. At least
There's And there's a rule book that breaks all this down
Yes.
too with the diagram.
Yeah,
and-
diagrams.
Okay.
You know
So
my
it's
big
not
sword?
like made up
Does it have
park to park. There's actually a
Yeah, but that's
solid
not strike section.
rule
That's courtesy
book
padding.
that binds everything together.
Yeah, it's courtesy padding.
Exactly.
I was told it's fine if you do that.
By who?
A Reeve. A champion. Anyhow, we're arguing about semantics here. If you get hit on a hand that's not holding this, you're
It counts as part of your arm, and your arm's
Yep.
gone.
okay.
All right.
All right. So hold on. So, so when it comes to arms, essentially think of like your shirt seam on down. That's pretty much how you count your arm. And then if you have a weapon in hand, it's basically from your wrist back. However, if you have nothing in the hand, the entire hand counts as the rest of your arm. Now, the big thing about losing an arm. So let's say he takes this arm. I'm armed. Now, if I'm still holding the sword out and he hits the sword, counts as part of my dead arm. I've now just taken that second point. I am dead. So now people think that you gotta like dramatically throw your stuff aside. No, just get it out of the way. Get it behind your back. Just try not to
transfer to the other hand.
Yeah, just try not to get hit in it, or else you're dead.
Can I hit you in the face?
No. From the neck up is verboten. It is not allowed. It gets you no points, and if you intentionally do it, you are getting kicked off the field. If you accidentally do it, it happens, but just stop swinging.
So I can't hit you from the neck up.
Correct.
Not on purpose.
But I can hit you from the waist down.
Correct.
Yes, the groinal area does count as a legal hit on the torso.
It's called bad form, though. It's very bad form.
Depending on who you ask, there are some people that regale us with tales of their dick stabs.
Sounds like you get a lot of flack for that.
You
feel bad when you might think that it'd be funny, but if you don't feel for that, then you're a terrible person and shouldn't be playing.
Or you get nicknamed the Legacy Ender.
Yeah.
You get a nickname.
You know, also, it's amazing when that happens with arrows.
I wonder who would do a thing like that.
Gee, I wonder. But so essentially, yes, your torso is your shoulder area here, the entirety of your front, the entirety of your back, your gluteus maximus, your groinal area, and then your side hip area. Basically anything that would be covered by a shirt, sans the seams, and tighty whities. Now picture me in those.
Nope. Okay.
So hold on. One last spot.
Going away from the tighty whities.
I'm going to the legs.
Back to my purple pink one-piece bikini.
I was gonna go to the legs.
Oh yeah, covered in butter.
Delicious.
I'm bringing the garlic.
Now that we're thoroughly off topic.
So when it comes to the legs, when you are the first thing is so from the ankle on down is your foot. There are two things about the foot. If it is firmly on the ground and you are poked in it, you get to just say foot on ground and you're good.
Stop. Thor. I like Thor. Superhero. Favorite superhero. Thor.
All right.
Because he's
going back to the original. Okay.
I've been thinking about it, and I think Thor's, like, especially Fat Thor. Fat Thor is my favorite.
Why?
Because he can relate to him.
Because I can relate to him.
Just because he's fat.
Yes. I want to be Fat Thor.
So if your foot is not firmly placed on the ground and you are hit in it, it counts as part of the rest of your leg. Now, when you get hit in the leg, you have two options. Your first option is to literally get down to a knee. So, you're down on your knees, and I suddenly realize there's a table in the way, so it makes this difficult. But the big thing when you're on your knees is the leg that you got hit in no longer counts. So you can get hit in that leg all you want, and you're gonna be fine. If you get hit anywhere else, you're dead. The other option is to
scoot. You can scoot when you're on your knees.
Yes, you can crawl. You can scoot around on your knees. So there's a lot of people that prefer that option because it does make you a smaller target, and you still can advance on the enemy or retreat or even go play the objective. The other option for those of us with bad knees is what's called posting. Now in posting, so let's say I got hit in this leg, I cannot pick this foot up off the ground anymore. I can pivot on it. So I can do a little pivoting around.
Think basketball when you hold the ball.
There you go. And you can still step forward and back with the other leg, but you can't lift this foot off the ground. Now the disadvantage to posting is that this leg then is still a valid target, just like with arms, where if you get hit in the arm a second time, you're dead. You can still get hit in this leg and get that second point and be dead. And that's it for hit locations, really.
So what happens if I get hit in the leg and I say posting? So I'm standing there.
Mm-hmm.
What if I move?
Then,
what if I take a step? What if I'm not thinking about it, or I just do it anyways?
You're dead.
Kicked out, or
you basically
forever.
You basically just call yourself out. Go back to whatever the respawn is or whatnot, and come back in. Accidents happen. People forget stuff, things like that. And so yeah, usually you go ahead and just be like, oh yeah, no, I'm dead, I'm out, my bad, and everyone's just like, oh okay, and play goes on.
Just
yeah,
keep going and have fun.
The biggest thing is I mean, no one's really gonna say anything if you're honest about it. If you admit you goofed, you just go back to, you just call yourself out, go back, respawn, and come back into the game. No harm, no foul. It's the people that then, try and say no, oh, nuh-uh, or argue with refs, stuff like that. That's when it's a problem. But usually, yeah, if you just kind of go, oh, my bad, my goof, everyone's like, oh, okay, whatever.
Alright, so I think that concludes the sword making.
That it does, because like I said, we now have a new legal sword each.
Alright, so we'll leave it open for Q&A if anyone's actually paying attention, watching, or halfway sober. Give us a comment. We'll stay open for a little bit. If you have any questions, we will try and answer that. Otherwise, it sounds like we'll have everything up. So by the time, if you want to watch this later, we'll have this up on YouTube. We'll have links for Amtgard.com, everything else. If you're in Minnesota, if you want to get into this, we'll have it obviously for Mystic Dawn, of course. Any other information, again, you can also just message us directly. Drunken Adventures, more than happy to direct you where you want.
Ooh, that's kind of relaxing.
If you're out of the U.S., there are groups out of the U.K. I don't know about any other places. But other than that, I have been part of the group for many years, off and on. And I can say it is a lot of fun.
It definitely is.
And you get to hang out with great people like me.
Who?
This guy.
Okay. And even my time with Amtgard, I've seen people who are super into the combat and they're really athletic, they're very good at their fighting, and they just dominate the field. On the other side of the coin, I see people who just kind of sit back, they socialize, they talk, they craft, and just kind of hang out.
There's something for everyone.
Yeah.
Come on.
There is something for everyone. If you like, anything, you like to make things, there's a place for you. If you like to fight, there's a place for you. If you just like to show up, place for you. There's a place for everyone.
Yeah, it sounds like Amtgard's been very open, especially my off and on. I'd show up for a little bit, I'd disappear for years, come back, disappear for years. Everyone's been very open and kind of accepting.
He just shows up, it's like, oh, it's that guy again.
Exactly.
Hey, how's it going? What are you doing? Good to see you.
Exactly. Extra life. Yes. For those of you who are not our regular viewers, we are partnering with Slugfest Games, and we're putting on a charity event for Extra Life, which is, think of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but more video game catered charity. We are doing that November 2nd. We partner with Slugfest Games. They're the makers of Red Dragon Inn, Battle for Greyport. We have special promo cards that you cannot get anywhere else except by this kind of event.
Ooh.
We are doing that November 2nd. There will be flyers around downtown. We'll be doing that. So yeah, stay tuned for that special event. And if we get more collaboration too, I'd be open to more Amtgard and more nerd-centric things such as... Oh! And... Speaking of partnerships, Amtgard, Mystic Dawn, in specific, we're going to be at a convention. We're going to be at Anime Fusion this weekend in Minneapolis. So if you're in Minnesota, if you are, I guess I should probably put a picture for this. There is a reason I'm talking. So, we'll be downtown Minneapolis then this weekend.
It's at the Crown Plaza West in Plymouth. So just in the West Metro area.
Okay, so yeah, if you're there, I believe other parks of Amtgard too will do cons once in a while.
So the conventions is it is one of those things of you. We are looking to get a lot more presence via the cons. So you're gonna see, especially here in the Twin Cities, I've been working a lot to get us into as many conventions as possible. So you will most notably Anime Detour, Convergence, MarsCon, again, and Anime Fusion. We have been working at getting boffer rooms in there so that, again, you can come and give this a try. So again, at Anime Fusion, we're going to be having a room going all weekend long, starting Friday night, going all the way through to Sunday afternoon. We're actually going to have a couple of tournaments with some medals that you can win, things like that. So it's definitely something if you are, and even if, again, it sounds like you got listeners from all over the place. So check your local cons and see if you've got a boffer room in there, and if you don't, find a group, get a boffer room in that con. It's great fun. It's a great way to meet new people, and of course get new people engaged in your hobby.
Because I've seen some people come around Minneapolis too. They've toured from other states, their travel awards. So I'm sure anyone just kind of passing through will direct you to where we need to go. Yeah,
and it's even a thing too of, again, speaking about how we as a community do a lot of work to be magical. We do a lot for each other, and so that even includes at like, for example, at Convergence, I spent about, I think, 20 minutes talking to someone who was from the other side of the next state over. But I happened to know what their home park would be, so I basically spent about 20 minutes kind of giving them the ins and outs of Amtgard, and then telling them kind of what I knew about what would be their home park. Didn't matter if they were going to be from my park or not. They join my hobby, they become part of my family. So, there's an Amtgard park near you, and we'll help you find it.
Makes sense. Alright, so with that, looks like we're not getting any other questions or comments. So anything else, like I said, feel free to reach out to any of us, reach out to nearby park. Stay tuned. It's getting late, so we might not continue to make it Monday. We might make it a Mega Tuesday, and give you a 2-for-1. Why not? Otherwise, hopefully our hiatus will be postponed. You should get something going on Friday. Should get something Friday. It depends on the other two if they're passed out drunk by 4 o'clock as usual. If not, we'll have something for you. Because, again, this weekend I'll be at Anime Fusion. I'll be helping out the Amtgard guys. So, as Ruli and Kale will be your hosts on the gaming side of it, unless we can weasel our way into the con. We'll figure that out. But if not, we'll continue.
If you start late enough, I'll
figure something out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll probably continue November 2nd with our Extra Life stream for charities. Because, we're busy and we don't really put real effort into anything like we should.
You can speak for yourself.
Right?
You're just sitting here drinking. I'm creating.
Sounds about right. Oh yeah, and Jackbox Thursday night. So if you like Jackbox, we will be running that on Thursday.
Ooh, that's good stuff.
Anyone can jump in, just jump on the stream. We keep the delay pretty low, so it's always fun. We get quite a few people actually too.
Jackbox is usually Wednesday, but the new pack comes out this Thursday.
Ooh, there it is.
Party games awesome. You can play, and I can stream the game on Twitch, and you can join with your phone.
We're on Twitch. We're on the internet.
We are on the internet.
Come to one of my dinner parties.
So you can come to this channel.
You can invite me to your dinner
parties.
Put
in the room code and play games with me, a bunch of other people.
Oh boy.
They're very popular, so we get quite the crowd.
Yeah, you do get quite a crowd actually.
I get quite the crowd.
So, alright, with that, no other questions? Sounds great. Thanks guys for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Cheers.